Greetings everyone and welcome back to Captain of Industry and to our growing colony here, living in the shadow of a, well, it's not really the shadow, the Golden Mountain does have a shadow, so we're not directly in the shadow of Golden Mountain, but theoretically we could be if there was any kind of change in daylight levels. I'm not really sure what happened to the world, but I'm fairly certain that the same cataclysm that caused it to flood also broke our orbit around the sun. We are now tidally locked. There is but one time of day and one season, and it's a wonder that we can actually grow any food. But that digression aside, welcome back. We managed to get a fair bit of work done in the first episode. We have recently completed concrete production, which is very good because that's what we're going to be working on more or less at the start of this episode. But we are currently working towards synthetic rubber, and then after that we're going to be working on copper refinement. Now, we have covered the main bases. We've got the ability to work on diesel, and once synthetic rubber is up and running, we'll also set that up as well. Concrete is a bigger concern because we are definitely running out of the availability of concrete slabs over here in the abandoned communication station. So hopefully we can get that sorted pretty soon. The diesel is over here, or rather the crude oil as I recall. There we are. We're going to have to set up some refineries right there to be able to work on that. Also, we may want to get more and more of these trees chopped down. Where should we do that? Well, honestly, I'm kind of okay with them getting rid of that, but we're going to need a little bit of extra room around here. But once we've got synthetic rubber and copper ready, then for the early game and for all intents and purposes, we are more or less self-sufficient. I say more or less because we're reliant on resources that are finite, quite finite actually, so it's not really full self-sufficiency, but for the early part of the game, as long as we can make our own copper plates, we can make our own concrete blocks, make our own iron plates, and make our own diesel, we're pretty much golden. But on the topic of concrete, now, for that, we're going to need a mixer. We've presently got two fairly inefficient recipes. One requires 3 bags of cement and 1.5 of either crushed slag or crushed rock, gravel, and some water. Now, we're not even collecting water at all, so that's probably going to be a good start. And I'm thinking somewhere over here would be a nice place to go. And on that note, this will be quite nice for us because it will grab a decent amount of wood from the logging vehicles. There we are. That should go together fairly quickly. And do we have the means for fluid storage? We do. Marvelous. Right, we're going to place a fluid storage tank. Let's pop it about, well, if we were to sit it here, I could even, oh wow, I could tuck it right in there. That's fantastic news. Okay, I like it. What we'll do is we'll have these come out there and connect. I do like giving the pipes a little bit more room to breathe, just so that I can run any additional pipes or expand as necessary later on, and also it just looks better in my humble opinion. But that's going to cover our water. It's not going to be a lot of water early on, but it'll be enough for our needs. Now, again, with the crushed slag and the gravel, and indeed the cement, this is a really inefficient recipe just to get 6 concrete slabs. Later on, once we can use sand, we can actually get much, much more efficient recipes with 3 sand and 1.5 cement, and that's a really important one. And 9 crushed slag will get 12 concrete. Now, why is the cement the really important one? Well, as it happens, if we have a look at our recipe for cement, 9 limestone plus 1.5 coal in 60 seconds will give us 3 cement. Right now, every 60 seconds, we will make just enough cement to make 6 concrete slabs. We're not actually going to be doing the rotary kiln method just yet, but we've got a plan for the future. We've got a bunch of cement in the dock over here, so we should be good for a little while. However, the crushed slag, on the other hand, a crusher with 24 slag will make 24 crushed slag. We're using so little crushed slag that is not going to be our bottleneck at all. So with the water over there taken care of, let's go ahead and place down the next steps. Now, I would very much like to be able to get rid of slag. We do have the means of producing it, and it's a very useful resource actually, since I prefer to use that for filling areas, not necessarily along the edges. I like to use rock along the edges of an area that I'm filling because it has more stability and so it'll hold a tighter edge. But slag is a very good medium to just pile into a cavity and fill it out. And I'm more than likely going to want to do something like that around here to make some more growing land. Fill up an area with rock and crushed slag and then top it with dirt so I can put a farm on it. I really do appreciate the fact that we can do that sort of thing in this game. I don't think that is enough attention is paid to that, honestly. Right, let's go ahead and just pop you there. It's not set up for conveyors because we can't make them yet, but that should do everything we need. Now, it's going to be a little while before they've got it all. In fact, yeah, we don't have the construction parts, sadly. And where are we making? Well, I mean, we're making them as fast as we can, but it is going to be a bit of time. I'm going to prioritize this. Let's get that one made first. Then I want crushed slag to be made next, so I'm going to put in a manual priority. Rather than clicking on the prioritize button, which forces it to be priority 1, I'm just going to say use priority 2 there and use priority 3 here, so these will be built in that order. Thank you very much, logistics. Or at least where there are materials that they all share, they will be given those materials in that order. There we are. We are now actually accumulating water, which is marvelous. Now, on the topic of making slag, the way you make slag is by burning iron ore rather than iron scrap. Iron scrap is purely just scrap iron, so we're just melting it down and then reforming it. Whereas iron ore is quite a lot of rock. In fact, when it comes to refining actual usable iron out of the rock that you're mining it from, the vast majority of the mass is going to be rock. You tend to end up with very little iron versus the rock that you had to mine to get it. So we're going to prioritize this, and this actually is a good opportunity for me to showcase the fact that we can prioritize it. This was not in beta or indeed alpha, and this opens up a lot of possibilities for us later down the road. Right now I want the slag, so I'm prioritizing using the ore, but later on we will finish off with the iron scrap because that is a cleaner resource to smelt down. But the fact that we can prioritize things within the same building and say, okay, well, if you have a choice between these resources, I want you to use this one first. That is going to really open things up for us in regards to oil refining. Those of you who have been with me for the past 2 series will already have an idea of where I'm going with that, specifically in using the byproducts of oil refining to make more energy to run the oil refining process to generate the steam that we're going to need. Now, I'm not going to crush the rock, though I guess I probably could if I really wanted to, but I'm happy for rock to be used as a dump product straight away. So there we go, and then this one should be running crushed slag. I mean, I could set it up to use gravel, and I wonder if there's ever really a reason to do that. There is a part of me that thinks, well, you know, I could just run everything through additional processing. But that's just adding a middleman into a process. If all I'm going to do is dump it, I may as well just dump the rock rather than dump the gravel, because the gravel is costing me energy and man-hours to make, whereas the rock itself does not. But we'll have to see where that goes. I wonder if there are different material properties. I know that rock versus slag as material for dumping, rock, again, is a much more stable resource, so it can hold its shape a lot better. I wonder if gravel does as well, but one of the things that I've always noticed is you get exactly the same amount out as you put in. So there doesn't really seem to be any value in doing it. Correct me if I'm wrong, though, chat. If any of you, I say chat out of habit at this point, but if you do happen to have the game yourself and you're playing it alongside, if you have noticed any function to crushing down rock into gravel before processing it any further, even if you're just going to dump it, do let me know in the comments. I would be very, very eager to learn. But there we go. We've got our concrete mixer up and running, so we should now be producing our own concrete slabs, and that is a big, big thing for us. Now, the next item on the agenda is going to be diesel. Now, we can just pump this out and use a pipe to remove it from the vicinity of this. And I think that would probably be the right idea. Later on, we'll allow all of these trees to be removed, but for now, alternatively, we could just kind of hide it in the trees, our guilty secret. We'll pop that one there for now, though. We will also want a fluid storage, I'm going to say, because I want to give plenty of room for all of the industry around here, so I could just pipe it out. That might be worth our time, then have the industry set up more somewhere around here. I think that might be a better idea. Sure, let's do that, and then we'll run a pipe out from this, and I'm sure some of you will be happy that I am going to, for this once, run the pipe really tall. I usually don't do this. I don't much like having the pipe works high up because it doesn't really offer much of a benefit to me. Usually I prefer to have my trucks go over the pipes rather than under them. And I will have a think about burying the pipes in this series. That's always a question. You can absolutely bury pipes. You just build dirt on top of it. But there we go. That's all set up. Now we are going to want a basic distiller. This will require some coal and the crude oil there, and it will produce diesel, wastewater, and exhaust. Now, the wastewater is a bit of an issue. We're going to need to dump that. So, actually, we might want to bring all of this down here so that it's a little bit closer to where it's being processed. I think that might actually be a better idea. So there we go. We'll pop the liquid dump there, and then we'll build backwards from there. So we're going to want, do both of these produce? Yes, both of them do produce wastewater. So I'll leave a little bit of a room there. There we go, so that I can easily hook all of this up. In fact, actually, if I rotate it this way, it will be even more convenient for me, because then I can run the diesel away from this point. Let's pop in this pipe right there and connect all of that up. Ooh, bit of a flash there. We're going to want a storage for the crude oil, and at this stage, since this is the only thing that we're going to be using it for, I'm going to set that one up. I don't want it to be exported, and I would like this to be relatively full most of the time. This one is set up for crude oil. Do not import it there, only export from it. Next, we are going to want the diesel coming out of here. We've also got a little bit of exhaust. We can deal with the exhaust fairly easily. Does the rubber maker produce exhaust? No, it does not. That is very nice to see. Then that means we can just pop this smokestack right there and have all of that connected up. Ah, finally, copper refinement is done. On that note then, let's go ahead and grab storage. And once we've got storage, we want dock repair, so we can start getting out there and investigating the seas for various opportunities. Now that we've got the diesel production, going to want the diesel to be brought down here if we can. I'm going to try and make this as tight as I can. Ah, it would have been great if I could have popped that there, but sadly, no. So let's just do that. There we are. This is for diesel. I really do prefer to make these explicit and specifically say what can be in them, rather than just allow the fact that it's going to be pumping diesel into it to dictate what it's going to be. Next up, we are going to want to have a look at the rubber maker. This will also need diesel. It will also need coal. Later on, we can have sulfur, and then we won't be producing any wastewater either, which would actually be ideal, but for now, this will just have to do. We can have this about here, in fact, if we really want to make a tight design. And for this, I do want a tight design. Let's pop that there. And we can have the pipe just leaving out in that direction. There we go. This can filter down. I will specifically allow export. Now, when you build pipes or conveyors into a building, you'll notice quite a lot of them have auto. The way this usually works is if the moment you've connected any kind of automated logistic supply, it will stop the place requesting imports. And the moment you connect any automated logistic export from the building, it'll stop truck exports. So the moment you've got pipes connected to it, or conveyor belts, whatever the case may be, it will start messing with the ways that trucks will try to interact. So you have to be very specific sometimes. And in this case, we're going to have to, hopefully that will sit there now because I very specifically clicked on. So hopefully they will still be able to export from there. Now we're going to need some coal delivered as well. That will take a little bit of time though. Do we have anywhere that is presently storing rubber? Yes, we do. It's all the way over there though. Is that really where I want it to be? Not really, if I'm honest. I would much rather it be right here if I could make that happen. It is possible that I might be able to. Is that risen? It's not. So we could also flatten this area out a little bit. Let's go ahead and do that. Just get a little bit more shape right there. I think that would be ideal. Let's have a look over here. Things are going well. We're starting to bring dirt and rock over there, which is marvelous. And little by little, we're getting all of this done. I rose that up just so that the trucks could move around the tree harvester. Although I don't believe the tree harvester will go under these pipes, much like the excavators. I don't think they can actually move that way. But that will take care of everything we need over there. Are we producing the concrete? Yes, we are. Marvelous. All right, concrete slabs have actually been completely used up from this as well. So just in the nick of time. I'm very, very happy with that indeed. Right, we're going to want a couple of things prioritized. So I want this one done, then this one done next. Following that, I would like you. And then following that, I would like the rubber maker. I need to stop saying things like, I would like you. I would like this. I would like it over there. I'm quite conscious that quite conscious of the fact that quite a lot of people will just listen to my videos. They won't necessarily be watching them. They'll have them on in the background, and so me saying things like that isn't very descriptive of what's actually going on. So I will try wherever I catch myself to correct that. But it is a very, very tough habit to break. My goodness. Right, looks like we've got a little bit of time. I'm not going to start working on the copper refinement, although we can start working on that now. This needs to be done first. We've got a lot of things that need to go together, so I shall bring you back when they've finished the diesel refinery. And with a click of this button, there we go. We now have rubber being produced and diesel is already being made. We have completed the research of the loose storage. So I've set up a loose storage literally just immediately piped into the building so that we can have coal automatically delivered. And then once we've got conveyor belts, I can do a little bit more to have that be delivered over to the rubber maker as well. And that entire build is actually quite a tight build. I usually don't build like that. I try to leave plenty of room, but there is a certain aesthetic around the refinery that almost begs for things to be tightly packed and like regimental lines of pipes and conveyors going everywhere. Now, we have also unlocked copper refinement, and that is definitely something that we need to get up and running rather urgently. To this end, let's make another couple of, or well, just one excavator for now. I think that will be fine. Right now, all of the excavators are having to come down to the fluid storage in order to collect the diesel directly, which is something that I would like to speed up and get the fuel deliveries happening more in an automated way via the fuel station, but that is a little ways away for now. At the moment, how are we doing in regards to our input of concrete? We've actually got a lot of concrete available, and we are Unity positive, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to double up the production there. Or well, actually, I think it's a 25% boost, not a 100% boost rather. So that should get us through the remainder a little bit faster. But for the time being, let's go ahead. Let's see. Once there's only iron scrap there, I will, for a brief time, run this to make use of the iron scrap, because we are generating shocking amounts of crushed slag that we just aren't going to need. In fact, I can probably go ahead and safely do that right now, just to clear that out of the way, and then we'll have a little bit more building room. And I believe that this may well be finished. Marvelous. Okay, perfect. We should start seeing trucks, namely these trucks, immediately delivering the coal over there. So that's going to start helping out, actually, in a very, very big way. And to that end, I think I'm going to do exactly the same. Whilst we haven't yet got access to the conveyors, I can just pop a couple of these around the place just to help out with some things. So let's pop that up to 126, keep that full. There we are. And on that note, I should have just had that running straight into this for more or less that same reason. That being said, given that we're going to want water for this, I could just do that over here if I really wanted to. We're probably going to have to redesign that whole system anyway. Sure, I know it's a little bit of a faff, me changing my mind like that, but I think this will actually be quite nice to have that little system just tucked away there and out of the way of anything else. There we go, let's hook that together. Oh, no, damn it. Usually you can catch that as it's about to happen. If you haven't seen that before, if you hold down control, it'll choose an alternate path. So there you go. I need this to be expressly exported, but not imported. There we go. This one can use the crushed slag. This one should make crushed slag. And now that I've got loose storage, I can tap this on the end as well. Ah, no, I cannot. You see, that one is nice and high up there, so I can't actually hook that up, sadly. But that will all be fine. Let's get rid of these for now. I can still add in the storage over there, though, just so that I've got somewhere to take the crushed slag from the refinery, should I need to. And I think that is a reasonable idea, regardless. So let's pop that one down there and just set this one up to accept crushed slag only. We don't want that to... Oh, actually, yeah, not crushed slag, rather just slag. We don't want this one to be exported from at all. We only want imports there. But that should take care of all of that. There we go. We mostly get back construction materials when we break something down. I think in alpha you got everything back. That is definitely not the case now. In fact, there are researches which can help you increase the efficiency of your deconstruction, so you get more materials back, which tells me that there's definitely some loss going on. But for the time being, I think that one is manageable. Right, we're going to need a mine control tower over by the copper, so let's pop that one in there. And in fact, probably we're going to want a mine control tower down around here. Actually, I'm having a scout out for other areas that we can farm later on. Let's pop a mine control tower right down here, but this one's going to be a very low build priority. Pretty much, I only want that built when there's nothing else to build. This one, the area is for our intents and purposes quite adequate. We'll pop it there though, and we will start by digging into the mountain. Now, of course, I can use the area that I'm excavating here for copper twofold. I could build a ramp up there if I really wanted to along the copper, but then I would be using the copper as my ramp, and I'd rather use it for my copper plates, if I'm perfectly honest. Right, ship repair is now available. We could start repairing the shipyard. There is no way that I'm going to be doing that. We have got nowhere near enough materials yet to make that worth our while. For the time being, though, let's just go ahead and set up another blast furnace over here. You've seen me do this before, and you've seen me doing it many times before if you've watched previous series. So, bosh. There we go. We have a almost completely automated copper run. Starting with some coal over here that leads into the blast furnace here. I will add in copper scrap for later, but this will produce molten copper for us. That also needs to exhaust in this smokestack. That molten copper gets turned into impure copper via the metal casters, and then the copper electrolysis, which is going to be using water and impure copper, will produce the copper plate, which will finally be stored in the unit storage there. It'll take a little while for us to get all of the materials together, and in that time I've already got some trucks set up to accept the copper over here. It'll take a bit before we're done with that, but the whole thing will be largely automated once we're able to get conveyor belts. Now, we're already working towards that. We've got construction 2 on the way, and conveyor belts will be immediately after that. I guess around then we're going to go for fuel station, I think. This would make a lot of sense for us to get some extra oomph out of our excavators, because right now they're having to travel back and get fuel fairly regular. On that note, since we do have this, is it full? It's not, but it's getting there. It's it certainly could do with a little bit of extra fuel. So I'm going to add a little bit of something over here. Now, this is a very temporary setup. If I pop this in here and I give this a massive priority, I would like to have diesel stored here, but I don't really care for it, a lot of it being stored. I just want a little bit. You can export it, you can import it, that's fine. This is mostly there as a stopgap for my excavators, because excavators are slow. If excavators have to travel a great distance to get their fuel pickup, I'm not sure if that one will go over there or over there, but if they have to travel very, very far to get their fuel picked up, they will spend most of their time traveling. they're using fuel to go down and pick up fuel, then using fuel to get back up here, which means that all the sooner they're going to have to realize that they're about to run out of fuel and go back to get fuel, and they will spend increasingly less time doing any excavation. In fact, I've managed to stumble upon a situation where the excavators would take so much time getting to where they were going to dig that they immediately turned around after just one scoop in order to go and refuel again. It was very bemusing to watch and a little bit tragic at the same time. Nevertheless, that's all going well. How are we doing for iron plates? We're doing very well for iron plates. How are we doing for construction parts? We're going to be a shockingly long time before we're going to have any kind of construction part surplus. Can we trade for construction parts at all? No, we really can't. I can trade construction parts for potatoes, which isn't really that helpful to me. The other way around would be perfect, but sadly, no. That being said, we've got plenty of logs. Now, we don't need to be making that trade. We're doing it because I'm lazy. And that is the best reason to do any kind of trades. But once again, gonna have to spend a little bit of time while we wait for the copper plant to be up and running, and I shall bring you back when that's done. And welcome back to a problem. But it's a good sort of problem. This is the problem that occurs when we have more or less finished our design. We are still waiting on the final metal caster, but the whole process is actually producing copper plate, just intermittently, because we are right on our energy threshold. So, time for us to add in another generator down here. What we can do to make this a little bit more efficient, though, if I built them a little bit closer down. Oh, actually, you know what? Sure, let's cancel that. As much as I'm not a gigantic fan of what I'm about to do, it is something I'm going to do. Let's go ahead and... oh my lord, 3 of them will fit within the same space! This is so ridiculously satisfying, I don't even know how to express it properly. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and just set these up. We are going, of course, to set up some new diesel generators over here, and then as soon as they're finished, we're going to pipe into them. But we are going to need an extra storage tank at this point, because I'm going to start splitting my my fuel a little bit too aggressively for my liking. So I want a dedicated pickup spot for this. So the way I'm going to split it is we're going to have this here, going to have that set up for diesel. This one will stop truck import, but I am going to split the feed from my rubber, because that one we're not going to be using quite as aggressively. So we'll just split the fuel line to the rubber maker with this export area. Actually, specifically, I want it to be exported. There we go. That should all be fine. And then on this side, we will have a separate line just coming out there and up and around down here. Yes, I'm leaving those gaps there because I like it. There we go. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. Now, the trucks should still be able to gain access to this. Wow, you're coming all the way down here to collect that. That's kind of annoying. Oh well. We are working on the fuel station right now. We've got conveyor belts done, and as soon as we've got the power situation in hand, we should be golden. In fact, well, I was going to fast deliver that, but someone else already nabbed the components. There we go. Done and indeed done. That truck was on their way, dutifully bringing over those components, and then I nabbed their task from them. I do apologize. There we are, but that should be finished relatively soon. I'm going to leave that one there right now. This one's automatically getting diesel delivered to it, which is perfect for us. And so between the two now, we should have everything running nicely. As you can see, we've completed storage and ship dock repair, as you'd seen prior to the last cut, but we've also now completed construction 2 and conveyor belts. We are a far cry from the point where we can afford to start automating construction parts 2, though. Sadly, but we do need them, so I do need to start considering how we're going to set this up. In addition to that, I've also built out a couple more vehicles. We've now got a fleet of 20, and our vehicles in total are 7 trucks available to assign. I am going to need at least 2 more excavators, so let's queue those up, and each excavator is going to need 2 trucks. There we go. Our tree harvester is now over here, by the way, and it now has a fairly expansive miniature fleet all of its own, with 3 trucks dedicated to carrying the logs elsewhere. On that note, again, because I'm lazy, let's go ahead and pop down a couple more purchases. I will stop there. We're now spending 39 wood for every 20 concrete slabs, plus the Unity. As you can see, the price does continue to go up and up and up over time. Right now, that's fine. We've actually got too much wood to work with it. We don't know what to do with all of the wood that we've got accumulated. So that's a perfectly fine trade. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit less efficient right now. How are we going down here? We've almost got the 3rd one up and running, which definitely means that at this point I can afford to get rid of you. Not enough fuel to refuel vehicle. Well, I mean, that is true. Yes. Unfortunately, the fuel supply is now getting quite stretched thin. How about over here, though? Are you able to collect from here? I mean, you're allowed to export from here, so I'm not really sure. Maybe having to keep all there at all was causing an issue? I'm not sure. Usually trucks and excavators can collect from that. So the fact that it was complaining that there was no available fuel, that worries me. Perhaps it was some sort of pathing issue. No, there we go. There's a truck there. Oh, no, they've come to collect the fuel. That's a little bit of a concern, actually. I'm not liking that one bit. All right, well, we'll have to keep an eye on that. But I just noticed, look at that. Looking very good. You know what? It's probably that we're not we're not pumping enough crude oil right now. So let's go ahead and change that, shall we? Let's pop you there. Actually, let's move you back just a little bit, so this will be a little bit nicer to look at. And then finally, now each one of these can output 18 crude oil every 60 seconds. So it's a little bit under 1/3 a unit a second. If we look over here, this can carry 60 every 60 seconds. So it's 1 unit of liquid or gas every second. So at most, we can run 3 of these on a single level tier 1 pipeline like that. So let's go ahead and set that up. We'll have you right there, and then we'll bring this pipe down there, and that should all be perfect. It's going to take a little while to get that done. I'm going to give you a priority of 1. You a priority... Ooh, actually, this should be finished first. There we go. You can then have a priority of 2. There we go. And that should give us a fair old bit more fuel. In fact, I could, at this stage, take it down here. The only problem there is that an excavator would have to cross the path. So, once the fuel station is complete, I'm going to set up the ramps. I'm going to add that one to the queue. The conveyor belt and the fuel station are both, both require construction parts too, but the ramp only requires concrete slabs. We are very low on diesel. It is true, and it is very sad, but it will get better now that we've addressed the bottleneck in the system, and that is the crude oil. Feel a little bit silly that I missed that one. Right. Oh, and on the topic of other things I feel silly about, we had a bit of a problem back here, because I was saying for this to keep full, and initially when I set that up, I turned off exports. That's fine if you've got conveyor belts coming out of it, because the conveyor belts don't care what you've forbidden the trucks to do. They're just going to carry the stuff out whether you like it or not in some cases. But as a direct consequence, we weren't making any concrete. It was just kind of getting backed up. My bad on that one. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Now, this, we don't have enough workers here. So I'm just going to pause that. We're also going to pause the work over here. We need more workers, which is probably a good time then to turn on the beacon again. Let's get some more peeps over here. Oh, damn it, one worker shy there as well. Well, given this, let's see, how long will this take? 3 months. Totally worth it. Let's turn off one of the research wings. There we go. How many workers are required to attend the diesel generator? Exactly 2. So actually we can turn that back on. Not that we really needed to be back on. We have now got a very healthy buffer in terms of our fuel reserves, or rather our energy production. Not so much in the fuel reserves. The energy production is the reason why we don't have a very healthy buffer for the fuel reserves, sadly. But once we've got the ramp for vehicles ready, I may just pipe the crude oil directly down here and straight into this storage. That would make this little build quite effective at that point. I really like how tight this build is. I really like it. Of course, the ramp is only there for the excavator. I can simply rise the pipe for everything else, so I won't need a ramp specifically to give access for the trucks to this loose storage silo if I don't want to. Again, I do tend to prefer having the trucks drive over the top of the pipes rather than drive underneath them. Just saves myself from any strange pathing with future excavators. But I think I may try and bury the pipes a little bit more in this series. Again, something that quite a lot of people have been interested in seeing used more. It's an underutilized feature of the game. Right, we've got iron scrap, which can immediately be used there. I think we're going to leave the beacon running for a little while. I think that would actually be very, very helpful. Let's unpause this. We should start seeing this filling up at a nice, healthy rate. Now, there we go. That is actually very, very wonderful to see. Okay, now, how are we doing for food? Oh, we've got 43 months supply. That's not amazing. I'm going to be honest, we probably need a little bit more for that, but it is definitely time now for us to consider building up at least one building to make construction parts too. Now, we've already got the electronic parts just over there, and in fact, that will help us clear out the abandoned communication station a little bit faster as well. So I'd be very, very happy to see that one done. In fact, we're going to prioritize this. I don't know if there's anything competing for the priority. Oh yeah, there's a mine control tower over there. But that will be fantastically, fantastically useful. Now, one, perhaps even two of the excavators are ready, which means that we can now start doing a few things, actually, though I am going to need to get the mine control tower built as well. I want this one specifically for dealing with sand, and this one tucked in the forest over here for dealing with the limestone. Right, we're going to want to set that one up something like this. I think that should be fine. And then this one down here, this one can just be over the sand pit there. There we are, marvelous. Right, we are going to set you up to have one excavator and two trucks. And we will also, is that set to be a ramp? It is in fact set to be a ramp. We just want to take the top layer of sand away from here first. That'll be nice and easy to excavate. This one over here, 1 and 2, and again, we just want to dig into this area here and grab the very easily accessible limestone. That will give us the best version of concrete, though we are going to have to research that first. So if we have a look over here, efficient concrete, there we go. We'll add that one to the queue. That one shouldn't be too difficult for us to get to once ramps are ready. But I'm actually really, really happy with where we've managed to get to. We can see that the fluid export for diesel is there, so we can turn it off on this building, prevent anyone trying to path in there because they won't be able to do it. Although it is saying that we are low on diesel, and we are, it will get better with time, especially now that we've got 3 pumps working on that. I could add another 3 and have that being pumped down into a separate fuel storage, or even the same one actually, since all 3 pumps could just use a separate line pumping in there. But right now, in terms of power, well, we could probably do it. Workers, though, would be a little bit more of a tricky one. Still, I think it may well be worth our time to make that happen. So let's pop one there, we'll pop one here, and finally we will have this one right there, and that will actually all bring these together. Now that's going to allow me to showcase a specific type of incompatible point at the end. Okay, fine. Let's go through here. If we press R, it will allow me to draw through, like so. And we bring that straight up. I'm not going to worry too much about where we're going to be taking this, because I'm probably going to move the container over here and then have a pipe going straight down from there. But if we try and place this in here, we can't place a connector. Now, this is something I actually learned on the most recent stream, and I was very, very, very pleased to learn this little trick. Normally, you can't have 2 junctions next to each other. That is a tricky one. So, for example, as you could see, I couldn't make this connect to both junctions of these pipes at the same time. However, if I just go ahead and I make a connection point there, it is a little bit finicky, but once that's done, I can just delete this connector here, like so, and then I should be able to build that in, and this will now work as you'd expect. So it allows you to build very, very tight and efficient builds by doing that. It does require a little bit more forethought, because you have to plan for how you're going to lay everything out. But I think it is actually pretty amazing to be able to get that up and running. Now, with that in place, let's go ahead and just sever this connection. There we are. I'm going to quick deconstruct that one, just to make sure it's all done nice and fast. Do remember to turn back on the anchoring, otherwise, or rather the magnetizing to entry and exit points, otherwise it is going to cause you issues. I am very, very guilty of constantly forgetting that I've toggled that. But there we go, that will actually be wonderful once all of that's done. In fact, let's get that one being built as a priority. We are desperately going to require it, and get that one out of there as well. But this is going to give us 6 pumps worth, and at 6 pumps worth, considering it's every 16 seconds they produce 18, how much can this consume? That can consume 54. Yes, that will pretty much secure our access to diesel for the time being. It's not the most efficient recipe to do, but it is a very, very convenient brute force method of getting that all done. We will make a better refinery in time, but for now, as soon as we can get these made, I'm just going to pop that one on priority 1, this one on priority 2, and finally this one on priority 3. There we go. That should all work marvelously. Now, hopefully, we will start seeing these moving around. In fact, had I thought about this, I probably would have done that. I missed a trick there. I could have had one of these delivering directly into the tier 2. But while I'm building anything over here, we're going to have to give it a couple of... we're going to have to let other buildings finish first. But Tilly is letting me know that it's about that time, sadly, and we're going to have to wrap things up. This game is so bad for... I've just got one more thing to do and then I'll stop playing. I would actually sit here all day if I didn't have pets to remind me that they are hungry and need my attention. But with that, we're going to be wrapping things up here. I will just unpause this. Again, there's always something to do, always one more thing. But I think we're in a pretty good position now. We have got automated production of rubber, of copper plates. We even have construction parts too, though we aren't yet making them. But we're in a fairly solid position to move forward. Now that we've got ramps, I should be able to set up a automatic delivery of the crude oil in the next episode, along with starting to use some conveyor belts. But that is going to be it from me. I really do hope you have enjoyed today's episode and will be joining me for the next. As ever, I warmly welcome any feedback down in the comments below, and of course a comment or a like helps me know that you'd like to see more Captain of Industry on the channel in the future. But until next time, everyone, do take care.